Hello, Mario's Moodle Moments number 2. Hello, welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's happened in Moodle since last week. So, first of all, a quotation from my good friend Albert Einstein. Any fool can know, the point is to understand. So take our maths worksheets for example. The answers are pretty easy to find actually on the Moodle site if you know what you're doing. But just copying the answers into the box is not going to teach you a lot, and it definitely won't enable understanding of how the problem works. So only a fool would do that. What you need to do is to work through the problem so that you can get to the answer in the answers with understanding, so you understand how to get there. Then you should maybe cover up the answer and just look at the question and see if you can get it without the aid of the answer. Only then can you say that you understand that problem. And to get better understanding and a better learning experience, you need to find more similar problems and do them and solve them. You will notice that your tutors in some cases are able to solve the questions quite easily, in their head in fact. Now you might think that is because they are very intelligent people. Well, that is true. But the main reason why they can do it is because they have a lot of experience doing it. They have done hundreds of those problems and they can solve them very readily because they understand the problem, what needs to be done and why. So you need to first of all understand the problem, then be able to do the problem without reference to the answers, which you won't have in the exams, and then you've got a fighting chance of, passing the course and getting the question right. This is only a matter of time, your time. So you need to spend lots of time, first of all, understanding the problem, and then doing lots of other similar problems. And don't forget about retention. You lose a lot of your understanding in the first 2 days. You could learn 20% of your understanding. And if you don't refresh that understanding, you'll continue to lose. So you must keep refreshing and checking back. And that in itself is experience. Even though it's experience saving the same problem, it helps you to retain it. You must have noticed this with other things you do. The more you do, the better you get. It's fairly common in training and all sorts of things. Practice. It gives you experience. So let's move on and have a look at the learning outcomes. And here they are. And I'll just move myself. Oh, I think I could move myself up into there. All right, bit of a space there. On successful completion of this moment, you should have heard about the new Moodle site updates, located weekly workshop number 2, been reminded about weekly quiz 1 coming up on Tuesday, which should be tomorrow. Reviewed the diagnostic test, so we'll have a look at that and show you what you can do to make sure that you have got a firm foundation of mathematics before you move forward. Once again, you may need time to form the foundation and strengthen it. Determined what to do before next week, and you should have asked questions about any problems you have met. A problem unanswered is a problem. Alrighty, and let's look at Moodle. I told you all about Moodle last week, so I'm sure you don't want me to go through that again. So let's get out of here, out of this PowerPoint somehow by escaping and closing it down. And here we are, we're in the Moodle site, and there's the Home tab there, and your dynamic maths team there ready to answer your every question. There's been no additions to the home page, except I have found that some students have reported a few difficulties with the My Math Global. 2 questions that I have found, or I have fielded and answered, was one asked when the assignments are due, and that is written up the top. The first assignment is not due until towards the end of March. But I would recommend that you keep pace with the turnout with the weeks. So I would be looking to have assignment 1 completed this week and be moving on to assignment 2. Ideally, you might even be up to assignment 10 in the My Maths Global, but it is designed so that the questions are aligned with the work we're doing in class. So it's a good idea to keep pace and do a little bit every day, and this is the best way to learn maths and the best way to refresh your course. So My Math Global down there, if you are having problems, Ken is your man. He's our guru on looking after these, and he would also be a good person to ask as to when the assignments are due. We will try to give you some reminders in MAURIEO's MOODLE Moments. And so the first one is due towards the end of March, but probably best to confirm that. Alrighty, so let's move out of there and we'll go to assessment. Has there been any changes on the assessment front? Well, no. Well, yes and no. So here's weekly worksheet number 2 will have been handed out in tutorials and handed out today. So weekly worksheet number 2 is there. Weekly worksheet number 1 should be nearing completion. Test day is generally Tuesday, and this Moodle moment is delivered on the Monday. So the test 1 should be ready to be handed in just before you sit your weekly quiz 1 tomorrow. Speaking of which, weekly quiz 1 is tomorrow in room Q106, I believe, and it's in that session there that you have, I believe, from 12 to 1, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Weekly quiz 1 will be there towards the end of the hour, closer to 1 o'clock than 12 o'clock. Okay, so now let's go to learning, and just to, we're now into week 2 of the learning, which is entitled Algebra. So the maths review from week 1, you should have worked your way through the various resources and things that have been proposed for you there, and then prepared yourself, as I explained, prepared yourself for week 2 by doing the pre-class activities. We assume that these have been done, and that's the basis of where we start our second lecture in the in-class activities. We have an expectation that you will do the pre-class activities. So there's a link there to check you out, to check 3 links there. I suggest you check those out and have a little bit of a look at them. Make a note of any problems that you have or any understanding so you can bring that up in class. Okay, and then we will be, here is the Moodle moment that this is the PowerPoint for the Moodle moment, and this here is the Moodle moment itself that I'm recording right now for you, and I will give live in class on Tuesday. So, post-class, again, we've given you some resources there and examples where you can get some more or different ways of doing things. Once again, learn the way that best suits you, and then gather further experience. That is the way we learn, and don't forget to refresh. So here's some old exam questions here by way of practice and what have you. There's worksheet answers there, and tutorials with solutions there. So there's all these opportunities to practice and gain the necessary experience so you can answer these questions in class. All right. So that's the learning tutorials. Well, Civil 18 tutorial would have been and gone. So we'll have a little bit of a talk there, and the electrical and mechanical still to come. And the resources here are all there, still intact. There's been no change. I'm just recalling there has been a slight change in the diagnostic test area here. So the diagnostic test, I've changed this around a little bit as the explanation applies to all of the diagnostic test. So diagnostic test from 2018 is here in the blank and the answers. So what I suggest you do is you take a look at your test, see where you went wrong, and sort out those problems. If you can't sort the problems out from the model answers as to where you went wrong and the things you don't understand, that's where you ask your tutors for help and solve those problems. Once again, you should be able to do all those questions. They are the foundation of the mathematics, and you know what happens if you build a building on a flawed or weak foundation. It falls over and doesn't meet the requirements. So once again, you identify a problem, you must solve it before moving forward. Otherwise, the problem remains, and you end up with a very weak understanding of the foundation concepts necessary for maths. So I think that's pretty much everything. The weekly quiz coming up, written assignments, test and exam revision, diagnostic test. It's all there. It's all in front of you. The challenge is there. All you need to do is find the time and do the study. And if you encounter any problems, ask your tutors. It's just there for you to do. So I'm going to finish up this week's Moodle moment right there. So good luck. And as I say, remember, it's about understanding. So you must keep going until you understand before you move ahead. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a very weak and unsound foundation, and that's going to cause problems further down the track. So take the time to sort it out now and build on a sound foundation. All good. Cheers. See you.